What's going on, everybody? This is Blackman Sundays. I'm your host, Corey Sylvester Murray, and we're talking about generational wealth, mental health, finance, and business.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
And before we introduce today's guest, my brother Eric from Huntsville, aka Hunts Vegas, but he done moved to Cashville, aka Nashville, Tennessee, in the last 2 months. How you doing, brother?
And I'm doing great, man. Doing great. I got married a couple of months ago, so we're on our 2-month anniversary. So with that, come with a new wife. I have a new job up here in Nashville, so everything's lovely. Learning a new city, man. It's always fun when you learn a new city.
Yeah, man. Now you give me a reason to come visit Nashville. So who do you
Oh, man,
have
you
for our
had a reason.
spotlight?
You had a reason to come visit me when I was in Huntsville. You
No, I
never
got you.
showed up.
Don't do me like that. All them ribs and backs you was cooking. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get some, but I just couldn't make it. But anyway, who do you have for our spotlight?
Hey, thanks, Corey. Today my spotlight is on no other than brother named Walter McAfee. What's special about Mr. McAfee? He is the first African American mathematician and physicist who calculate the actual speed of the moon. Now, Mr. McAfee participated in Project Diana in the 1940s, which was a U.S. Army program created to determine whether the high frequency radio signal can penetrate the Earth's outer atmosphere. Now, to test this, scientists wanted to bounce a radar signal off the moon and back to the Earth. But the moon was a swiftly moving target, of course, impossible to hit without knowing its exact speed. So McAfee made the necessary calculations, and on January 10th, 1946, the team sent a radar pulse through a special 40 feet square antenna towards the moon. Now, 2.5 seconds later, they received a faint signal, proving that transmission from Earth could cross the vast distance of outer space. Now, official news of this scientific breakthrough did not include McAfee's name, of course, nor was there any recognition of this essential role he played. But Americans could have not walked on the moon had it not been for this brother here, Walter S. McAfee, and his calculations. That's my spotlight for today, Mr. Walter S. McAfee. Like, again, these are unknown people who we don't hear about. Now back to you.
Wow, yeah, that's a great spotlight, man. I always wonder how you come up with those spotlights because I'm like, man, I never read about him in class or nothing.
Right. And I'm going to tell you something else is special. Yesterday, a black man, for the first time in a 111-year history, won the Tour de France. But you didn't hear about that. This was yesterday. And I can get his name. I forgot his name. I can pull it up real quick. But yeah, a brother won the Tour de France in its 111th year history. That's something to be proud of, but we don't hear about these things.
Yeah, definitely, man. And that's why we do these spotlights, man, because I didn't hear about that. I was, trying to watch Bronny James' first game.
Also,
So,
one more thing I want to share. Don't forget to go Google Project 2025. It's a long description of, well, let's kind of get a little political, of changes that the Republican Party want to put in place in the event if, well, whoever is, let's say if Trump is the presumptive nominee, even if it wasn't Trump, this is their plan to put in place and to cut out. So we need to make sure we vote in November because there's a lot of information that we don't know. And I bet you one of our 4 people might not even heard of this. But yeah, just check that out. I just want to give that shout out for, just to check out for your own. I always say, don't take my word for it, read it for yourself.
yeah, definitely, man, because we need that. You know what? I think now that you mentioned that, I might come out the gates with our guest today
Mm-hmm.
about voting, maybe. I might come out the gates with, a lot of brothers say, hey, my vote doesn't count. My vote don't matter.
Right.
You know what? I might even start the show with that. So thanks for that spotlight and thanks for the inspiration, man. I can't wait to introduce today's guest. This brother is what we need on Black Myth Sundays, and he about to tear it down. Thank you, Eric, for that spotlight, my
Thank you.
brother.
Thank you.
Let's go on to introduce today's guest. This brother is Marvin Wilson, aka Meta Marvin. This brother's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This brother's what we need on Black Men Sundays. He's going to light it up. We're going to talk about spirituality. We're going to talk about business. And speaking of business, this brother's the CEO of Funding Credit. This brother's also a Desert Storm veteran from the U.S. Navy for 8 years. This brother has experience in travel and in the ticketing industry. We're going to find out all of that. We're going to find out about business principles. We're going to find out about the economic trends that we need to be looking at. We're going to talk about his nonprofit, Wisdom Foundation. We're going to talk about his LLC, Wilson Secret Travel, LLC. So without further ado, Marvin Wilson, aka Meta Marvin, out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome to Black Men Sundays, brother. How you doing?
Corey, what's going on, man? Happy to be here, brother.
Definitely,
right.
man. Definitely. And the thing I wanted to tell y'all before we even start this conversation, we're gonna get to the vote, but I got something to say first. Sometimes on, when I'm on Instagram, when I'm on Facebook, when I'm on TikTok, sometimes you find people lives, like the LIVES, but not lives, but they're on live. Because that's like a double entendre right there. My brother, Dr. Herbert Harris, this brother's Black Men Sundays alumni. He's been on this show already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on his page, checking him out Monday, Wednesday, Fridays between 8 and 8:15 in the morning. So, I walk my dog in the morning. So if I don't get in the house to 8:20, I missed it. But if I'm on there like at 8 o'clock, Herbert Harris, we get it. And I heard this brother giving the game. I was like, oh, he would be great on Black Men Sundays. And Dr. Harris said he would be great on Black Men Sundays. So Marvin Wilson out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's be great. Let's go on and take it up, man. My first question for you, man. When we talk about voting, because it's time to vote.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of brothers, I hear like a twofold. A lot of brothers say, my vote don't matter. I'm not wasting my time to vote. But then I also hear the other brothers say, okay, I'm gonna go vote, but my vote's not gonna matter. It doesn't matter who I vote for. So from your point of view, let's start this show off. It's a big election year coming up. So from your point of view, how important is voting in general and this year's vote specifically?
I think I guess my take on it is to be quite frank with you, Corey. I'm like a unicorn in this area. Usually when it comes to voting, I really try not to get into that because the dynamics of what I've grown to know. And I say that because of, having a top secret clearance in the military, just some of those memos, Corey, would really be, interesting. I love this country. I love the independence. I love the growth. I love being able to evolve the American dream. I'm with the whole thing. But for me, this show is going to be different because I'm going to say something different. I don't think it's going to matter this year. I really don't. I mean, and I'm gonna say this, I know people died to vote, but now the puppet show has started. It's a difference. It's people that, okay, well, Donald Trump is saying he sort of screwed the whole voting process, I don't want to get too deep in the rabbit hole, Corey, but it's just what I said, it's just the picking is already picked. If that makes sense. That's 2025 thing that my brother Eric was talking about. Look into that a little bit more. Look at what Taraji was talking about, because everybody's understanding of what the dynamics of what Donald Trump and then Biden, they're both about to be 80 years old, their decision making. Some people are scared of Trump. Some people feel that from a broad scale, Biden is really not a good decision maker, period. And so what that comes with is, okay, so what's going to be in the middle? So either way it goes, it's going to have to be one of them. So where is the leadership going to come from? And it makes it interesting because I just, like I said, again, man, I try not to get too deep into it because my belief system is a little bit different. And believe me, like I said, I have to respect the people that's out here and have really fought for the rights to vote. But I would definitely tell people to, to look, a little bit deeper into 2025, and I got some other things that I could throw out there for people to look up, but it would be interesting for people to really look at what's going on right now. It's not scary, but I think that for people to know how to move in freedom right now and to be able to control their lives a little bit more, to be in position, I think they need to pay attention this year. But again, if you have to vote, if I had to take a side, I'm gonna put it out there. If I had to take a side, I would go with Donald Trump. I would go with Donald Trump. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, I understand the tyranny and people scared of, oh, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. But I'm just used to of a man with with a morale and a type of backbone that just going to sort of look at trying to build this country and not really run around with his legs behind with his tail behind his leg. It's just Biden hasn't really took that authority measure for me to really say I'm the leader of this country. And if something happens, he did spoke very highly and very strong. He was adamant about other countries and how strong our military is, which is true, very true, because we put trillions of dollars into military budgets, and we have robotic mosquitoes. I mean, people out here talking about guns, man. The United States got stuff that looks natural that can kill you. They got insects that can kill you. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different war out there. The war that I was in, it wasn't no bullets. I was in Desert Storm. It was all about chemical biological warfare. I seen people walking into a certain environment, Corey, and I just seen some brothers lose their limbs. I've seen some people go blind, and I'm and we're wondering what people didn't even know it was being tested in that war. And that's what really, I'm a conscious brother, Corey. So that sort of woke me up on start looking at things a little bit differently. So with that being said, I'll talk to you later. That's where the whole Meta Marvin came from. So that's it. That's my story on that one.
Gotcha. Great information, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
And we're gonna come back to that in the end, but let's go on and take care of some business, man. You're the CEO of Funding Credit. What is
Yeah.
that?
Well, Funding Credit has been a household brand, man. Coming from the ticketing and the entertainment era, that's where most people know me from. Corey, I don't know if people out there might have heard the CIAA, and I had if people know of Ticketmaster, then they would understand where I'm coming from. Well, this was a black, if I can get you guys to understand, well, it was a black Ticketmaster. So you don't really see who and where, you don't see people, like, hey, we're Ticketmaster. But Ticketmaster controls pretty much 90% of all the venues and everything that's going on in the United States. So I got into that a little bit. I had a couple ticketing modules and things like that. Convention centers. So when people would come into the building, they would actually use my system to buy their tickets and, for parking and all the stuff, as you see what you have to buy collectively, ticket fees. But I have to say it that way, Corey, because from our community, based on what our consciousness is and how we've looked at it, if I say I owned a ticketing company, first thing they're going to think, oh, he was a broker. Oh, what are you selling? You were selling basketball tickets? No, I wasn't no man on the corner. And it was my tickets. It was my machines. It was my box office. And it was my systems in them buildings. I worked hard for that. I just want to make sure that's clear. This wasn't no me selling nobody else's tickets. When people came to the building, they had to come to my company, and for them to put on a show, they had to pay to be in the building to do the show, and they had to connect my company to sell the tickets for that show. So if let's say Kevin Hart would come to a building, he would have to, his promoters, his team would say, hey, I want to come down to such and such convention center. We want to put you on our tour. Okay. Then they would collect and say, hey, Marvin, we have Kevin Hart. Here's your tickets. I put them on sale. We had Boca printers and things like that. So that's where it started. I'm leading up to what you asked me about funding credit. So all this, Corey, is how I look at business right now. It's financial literacy at the highest, and it's called fintech. People are like, well, Marvin, what type of business you in? I like to tell them banking, and I used to say credit. It ain't that no more. I started off with funding credit as a credit company, and what made me different in this area, Corey, is because even today, I don't know how many places that you can drive around the city and say, "Oh, this dude do credit. I'm gonna go in his building, go in his office, and get my credit fixed." Nobody, nobody had a building that could come in and have a cup of coffee, talk about your ticketing profile. We pull up your your credit profile, and we will go over your credit, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. We'll look and see what we need to do to scale your credit, who we need to go to, and those type of things. So funding credit was a household brand that people could drive, and it was a way of it was challenging at first because a lot of people in our community, Corey, they don't want to let you know they behind on their bills. They ain't trying to tell you my credit is a 400 or 500 credit score. But what I did is I started doing free events, and I started talking I was very active out there on credit is life. Credit is your future. And once I start challenging the people in our community, and it was other people too, and educating them about the importance of credit and getting off of not being so suppressed or secretive about your situation, especially if you don't know how to fix it. It caught on. I got some value from the mayor here and a lot of other people that was saying, hey, go check this guy out. He's educating. So I was talking to the churches, definitely the churches. I was going into banks, challenging the bank, saying, hey, my name is Marvin Wilson. I'm the CEO of Funding Credit. Hey, Bank of America, I have a database of 3,000 people that I'm collectively working on your credit. How would you like for someone to be able to potentially come, one, open up a bank account, because I know that's what banks want, put money in your bank, and also they're going to be able to get 2 or 3 products out of your bank, because you know why? I'm going to have them at a 720 plus credit score. Sure. I didn't ask them for nothing. I just told them that I'm preparing people to come to your bank. Tenfold, they paid for me to go out, do marketing. They gave, they gave me the red carpet. So I changed the dynamics around so it could be, because Corey, sometimes in our community, I can say things, this is the best things in sliced bread. But just because I'm not trying to be race conscious, because I'm not. But if I say it, it don't matter. But if Bank of America say it, then everybody running, right? So I had to use that straw man effect, because I'm like, my self-image of who I am is huge. But sometimes when I'm reflecting how I feel about my future and how people feel about their future, sometimes it doesn't line up. So I have to go get someone else that they look up to, or they feel that's a little bit more broader sense of collectively like, well, and I've had to do that a couple of times in business to really get my idea out there. But whatever it is, I'm gonna do it. But funding credit now does personal credit. We do business credit. We take you through all 3 tiers, show you how to get the Paydex score up to 100. We show you how to get the net 30s. We show you how to either go get either you want to go buy real estate, or maybe you want to get a fleet of trucks. You might want to get a couple of 18-wheelers, commercial buildings. We try to facilitate what you need on your business credit, so it will reflect people to look at your business credit and get people to understanding really what it's about. It's not really about buying something, it's using what you are and what you do on an everyday basis in business, so people can see that you're paying bills and you don't have to use your social security number. So that's the whole thing. And so I got real big in that. I was, God was good, man. And I was able to go out and I bought a home out on the lake, was able to do it through my business credit. And that's really got on, it got on the news, and, it's been great, man. I've just really been an advocate and pushing the whole pen of telling our community to open up our minds to really what's going on around us. You know what I'm saying? And it was a good ride. So funding credit stays in that area. Now I'm into fintech banking, which is called financial technology, meaning that I don't put money in the bank. I mean, you can't put money in my bank, but I put millions in other banks. So what it is now, if you go to Bank of America, Corey, and they turn you down for a loan, people come to me and say, "Hey, Marvin, hey," and it's not, sometimes they come to me first. But what I would say, I'm more of the new age banking. It's not a bank that's sitting on the corner. It's just like Blue Vine or you might have heard of Linden Tree. I'm sort of in that area. And so what I do is we do more common sense underwriting. We don't turn you down. Corey, oh, your credit is bad. Again, I bring funding credit in there. We do a soft pull on your credit. We see, Corey, you know what? We got to shape you up a little bit, man. We got to do this. We got to get some 30-day lates. Then once we get you straight, we'll put you in a product to get you some money or go get you what you need. So we don't turn you down like the banks turn you down. We give you an opportunity. And that's why I get so much tons of traffic, because all the banks, again, remember what I was doing for the banks, the favor, right? So now tenfold, they throwing it back to me. Oh, you know what? We can't help you. I'm sorry, Wells Fargo, you need a 680 to be able to get a personal loan, but I do have someone for you. I have a colleague, his name is Funding Credit, and he could not only be able to potentially help you get your credit fixed, but he can also help you get some funding. So that's what Funding Credit is. It's sort of a catalyst between the banks and the people.
Well, that's great information. Yeah, because you in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's known as one of the top three financial cities in the country. So where did the idea, like what was the impetus of creating funding credit?
I knew everything was changing. When the coming out of the ticketing, I got to a point that it almost, and I say this because I like to always be real with my brothers and my people out there, man. I made tons of money in ticketing, but I'm gonna tell you, when you're not open at the top and you're not ready, people are watching you. And I don't put this in a paranoia sense, but when you're doing very well, I was sort of engaging in all the HBCUs. I had took over a lot of things, and I'm gonna get into what you asked me, Eric, but I'm gonna go there. Financial technology, fintech, it was a company called Eventbrite showed up. Oh, what you mean, Marv? Well, why would you need to come to Meta Marvin, and why would you need to come to the Black Ticketmaster or really any ticketing company at that time for the most part, when you can go create your own ticket? At that time, I was printing tickets. You could buy online, but Eventbrite Financial Technology, that $800 million gorilla, showed up and said, "Hey, we have a new way. Hey, promoters, club owners, how about you go in your own account, create your own ticket, and you can facilitate and look at your own ticketing platform." So at that time, why would they need me? I wasn't ready for that, Corey. You know, it sort of showed up, and it showed up very quickly. So with that point, that's cool. I chilled out for 3 or 4 months. It was interesting because you see people just walk away from you. Hey, Marvin, I love you, bro, but I'm going over there. And some of them was loyal, but it wasn't enough loyalty for me to stay up and going. So then Funding Credit showed up. I said, you know what? I need to learn more about business first. I need to know more about credit power, buying power. I need to know the dynamics of an infrastructure of how businesses are really supposed to be. I'm skill set. Oh, I can sell and I can be an advocate and I know how to talk and all that. But do you know business? And so Funding Credit was not only a business for me, Corey, it was also a strategic way for me to learn, help people, and to also get better at business. But I thought, while I'm doing it, I might as well facilitate a platform that I could render to the people. So that's sort of what that idea came from.
Let's take it way back because I was looking at your bio and you said you had your first taste of business. So I want to know, when did you get your first taste of business?
My first taste of business, interesting. I went into the military, I got out the military, and I worked at the Veterans Hospital retroactive towards my retirement. So, like when you come out the military, if you work like at a post office, it's like you're still in the military because you're a federal facility, right? So I was working there doing my thing. And you know what, Corey? After a while, man, I just had this epiphany. I was like, man, this is getting sort of monotonous, man. I done served my country, man. I done put my time in. I need another challenge. I need to get out there and really see what this world's about. So I was blessed when I was growing up. As of my father, he was the first Black man to actually have a bus company to work with the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets, meaning charter buses. When the teams would have away games, he would pick them up from the airport, get them on the bus. And he was engaged into a lot of different mega churches and stuff like that. Well, that was huge back in the day, you know. But me being able to be, around that growing up, it lit a fire under me, because even though I did the military thing, I was cognitive of how things could maybe work in that area. But when I got into it, my first taste of business was I got into travel, and this probably didn't make any sense, but I don't know why I went there, but it was cool. It was called Wilson's Secret Travels. And it was really more of categorized as a celebrity travel agency. Well, Corey, back in 2006, 7, 8, 9, there wasn't too many celebrities in Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? We might have hit a Larry Johnson, maybe. But what I did is I started engaging with all the major people that's in media, like yourself. I started engaging with a lot of the DJs on the mega radio stations. I started, engaging with people that was just leaders in the community. I had 10 buses to go to the Obama inauguration. I had the mayor on there. I had a lot of the city councilmen on there. I just know how to get to it. And I say that with no ego. When I get into something, I don't like I gotta talk to the head. I gotta talk to the decision makers right away, because once I get the head, then I got the rest of the body. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So, so with that, it started off as doing celebrity travel. I had a couple of entertainers. I was doing cruises. I was doing I did the BET Awards. I had packages for the NBA All-Star. I had packages for what was that club? Well, anyway, it was the Super Bowl down in Miami. We had Tommy Lee, Chris Brown, all those guys. When Chris Brown couldn't even drink. He was young. But I was shaking the bushes, Corey. I was adamant that I'm gonna bring the celebrities to me. Because what nobody thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? What nobody thinking that, well, if a concert comes to here, you got to remember, I was already in the ticketing, right? So I already had my ear at the door. So I said, okay. So when people come to Charlotte and when people come to these events, I wonder who putting these people up where they need to stay at. I wonder who these people thinking about it. These people might want to take a bus there, or these people might need ground transportation. So with that being said, Corey, for a while, I controlled that whole industry. I had it was actually it was in my book. I was talking about how the CIAA, it was a leader. It was like, well, this a guy named Marvin Wilson that was, not only he sold over 2,000 rooms in the city of Charlotte, he also had 125 ticketed events over one weekend. I had maybe about 9 people working for me at that time, but I just look at the supply and demand on that, man. That was my first taste of business, Corey. It was really about hospitality, and it was about engaging more into the ticketing, but travel was actually my first. People think ticketing was my first. Travel put me in the ticketing business. So with that story, anything that was going around events, whether it comes from travel and ticketing, I was your guy when you came through here.
Gosh, okay, yeah, man, I got you. Great information, man. Yeah, because I saw Wilson Secret Travel LLC.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, because of your experience and in the ticketing and travel industry, how did that set you up going forward?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I think everything, man, is always, I'm a spiritual guy. I think it was led. One thing was funny about Wilson's Secret Travels. My ticketing company, Corey, was called Wilson Secret Tickets. Okay, Marvin, what's the secret thing going on? What's up, bro? Okay. Secret was something I was sitting in my house. I knew I was about to put my resignation in for the VA, right? This was when I was leaving my job, Corey said, man, I'm about to go out and do my first taste of, business, right? I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the Oprah Winfrey show, and she has these people on her show, and they're talking about the movie The Secret. I don't know if you guys are familiar with The Secret, with talking about manifestation, visualization, law of attraction, that type of stuff when Oprah put that out there. So my grandmother always told me, whatever you call it, that's what it is. So people was like, man, what's The Secret? What's that? Some kind of freaky? They was teasing me, what's the secret about? What's the secret? It was actually, it was a premise of it was a spiritual principle for me, because I felt like I could use my imagination. I could visualize. I was creating things, for my innate ability to create, because these things I felt that it's nothing new under the sun, but there was always a different way that you could do it. But for me, I always love to be able to, create and be creative in that sense. So it set me up to start looking at, as I'm doing business, Corey, I had to start looking at, business from a different mindset, because it set me up to start looking at business from a more of a spiritual perspective than a material perspective. And when I say that, that's when you saw me on Dr. Harris show. And, me and that brother, we go in and, and they're like, well, Marvin, you're talking about getting people money and all this other stuff. But then on the Meta Marvin show, you telling people they are the money. What do you, I mean, is it two sides? I said, well, it is, but it's the same. Tell you why. When you start looking at the principles and you start looking at business, when you start looking at people's mindset and people's temperament, when you cut the fat off, you start really looking at, okay, how can I really get engaged with this business? Do I going to go out here and be the $20,000 guy? Or am I going to go out here and be that $200,000 a month guy? How do you see yourself? Self-image and likeness, right? That's where we come from, right? How do you look at yourself? How do you feel when you're sitting at the table with other people, man? Sometimes people don't really like to do that deep dive and do that deep inventory on who they are. So they want to say it's the devil, or if I put it in God, well, you got to have it in your hand to give it to God. So, so I talk about moving your feet and acting as such. And I think that when I start talking about business, Corey, I have a doctorate degree in metaphysics as well, sort of like the doc, and I talk about, I call it, Corey, spiritual economics, right? And I frame it because I don't like to lose people. Sometimes people are like, oh, he think no, I do not. No, I'm not claiming myself to be God. No, I'm not. Please don't. No, 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 no. But what I'm trying to tell you is, please use what God has already given you. That's most of our problem. You don't want to accept that what God has already given you. And that's what I teach about people being able to understand, to use what you have and quit looking at it from a sense of somebody got to give me something. Quit chasing the money and be it. Be the money. I call money my own natural energy yield. My own natural, my own DNA, my divine natural ability, my own energy yield. I didn't say nothing about the green stuff. I said money. So my acronym for money is you. It's how you feel, how you going to take care of your family. Where's your mindset at? You attract what you bring to you. Do you go in there as the employee, or you go in there as the CEO? Nothing against either one of them, but it's just about what you want. It's always reflected, and it's an inside out job. So with me, I listen to a lot of the guys, the Les Browns. I listen to the Yana Van Zants, and I'm listening to the, you know, like you say, Obamas and all that. Well, with some of this information that I've been studied and Dr. Harris has studied and a lot of other people have studied, that we got to quit chasing the ghost and start looking at who we are and put ourselves out there to do what we need to do so we can really be the people that we need to do, so we can make sure that our kids going to be in place. We're going to make sure that we ain't playing victim out here. We got to make sure that we wind up getting our power back. We got it. But sometimes the world will take it away from you because it makes us feel like we less than. So I take these principles into business, Corey, and I think with the Wilson Secret Travels has really got me to that whole Meta Marvin thing and teaching this stuff. And you know, well, who thought in COVID that someone could go out here and open up a fintech bank? Well, I did. When I seen nobody going in the banks for the last 18 months, I said, oh yeah, that model gone. Now, I mean, we're going into the banks now, but you got to look at how many people going online now. How many people are going online shopping now? How many people going online getting loans now? How many people going out doing everything online? So my tentacles go up because of how I think. As a man thinketh, so is he. Well, let me say that back. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So I talk to people sometimes, Corey, when I'm doing consultations with business owners. People love me because they really think that I care. Because I do hear it. Oh, Marvin, man, look, you know, man, you know, I'm running out of money. I say, well, hold on, brother, hold on. Before we start saying all this other stuff, how do you feel today? Oh man, I mean, I'm good, man. I'm just, you know, man, I'm going through it right now. Okay, all right. But you woke up this morning, right? Okay. Why don't you grab a gratitude journal, man? You know, gratitude will bring you really back in the reflection of you're not as bad as you think you are. You just need to change your frequency a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Start bringing some of that good stuff that's out there waiting for you. But I'm going to tell you something. Good vibes, good energy, good people. If you in that vibe, you kicking them all away. Ain't nobody want to deal with nothing negative, man. You're going to be in that vibe. You're going to be in that black cloud. You're going to be broke. You're going to see them negative banking accounts because you don't see nothing else but that. And it's hard to do that when you're not trained. It's not no overnight thing. So I've made my whole life, Corey, of just mandating myself, surrounding myself by books and putting myself around the best people that I can surround myself with to keep myself focused. Because I'm just like you, Corey. I came up, we weren't taught this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, your grandmother said this, go to church, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying nothing against it. What I'm trying to say is that, guys, is that people always want to know, well, how do them people get the loose bar? How are these people over here getting this business and I can't get it? It's because they're aligning themselves and they know that they're here for something. If you feel that you're not here for anything, you're just here to work, then everybody gonna be walking on top of you. What are you here for? And when you start thinking like that, watch what else shows up. Other people are going to start feeling like the same way. And you ain't going to have to chase the money anymore because people, places, and things are going to show up for your beckoning call. I don't want to make this thing sound like magic, guys, but what I am trying to tell you is that where you're thinking and how you're moving in business and your thinking patterns, you attract exactly what you're thinking about. So I don't want to go too deep into that, but that's how everything scaled. That's how a lot of things have happened for me, Corey. And it's been a wonderful ride, man.
Speaking on, and you mentioned a few of your business principles for entrepreneurs listening, for brothers and sisters that, you know, work a 9 to 5 and they're thinking about starting a business as well. What business tips would you give based on your principles?
I would definitely go in business not for the money. We're all serving in one way or above, whatever you're doing, whether you're working for somebody else, whatever you love to do, get around the people that, or get around someone that's doing that already very, 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 very well. And you put your thing around what you love to do. But in business, one, make sure that you're definitely understanding what type of business model you need to do. Try to make sure that it's scalable. It's not going to take you 3 or 4 years to scale up and get into really where you want it to be to make money. Right now, you can get making money very easily. Understand who's around you in your business. Like if you're a plumber, figure out who all the other plumbers around. What are they doing? What they're charging? How they're moving? How are they being able to be successful? And then you think of something else you can do on top of what they're doing. It's justifiable in a way of supply and demand. But everybody now, like, you know what? Yeah, I don't know, but they brought it to my house, or something. Another thing, and I say with business, make sure that all people think that they got to go empty their bank accounts and take their own money to start their business. No. Get your credit, get your business credit. It's called a personal guarantor, guys. Personal guarantor means that you're a PG. You could be a PG with your business. Me and Corey can go in business right now. We can go create an LLC or C Corp tomorrow. If Corey has a 700-800 credit score, me and Corey could have 150 grand by the end of the week, or at least it would be on the way. No business credit, no nothing. Why? He's personal guaranteeing the business with his personal credit. Let me break that down. Corey, Mr. Sylvester, but this is Bank of America. Hey, Mr. Sylvester applied for a $100,000 line of credit. First thing they're gonna do, they're gonna go look at Corey's personal life. Okay, he's been paying on this van for 13 years. Oh, he's got a mortgage for $250,000. So they're gonna look at all his payments and look at how he's justifying on his personal side, how he pays his bills. They'll give him that business side. Now, he can use his credit score to go out and get funding for his business, just like that, right? But the catch on that, guys, is that usually 9 times out of 10, that's how most people have to start their business. Now, some people, they got money. Oh, I got money in this way there, or they'll take it out of something else and use it. But most time, for it nothing have to come out of your pocket, use that. Get your credit scores up that it can be definitely something to find that you can go out and get some business funding if you need to do that. And then there's also another way of being able to get money for people to invest in some of your ideas, but that's a whole nother thing. But I would definitely say don't get into business and use your hard-earned money. Businesses work, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Use your energy, use your credibility. You worked hard to have good credit. Use it. Go out there, get you some money, and use your credit scores. And another thing, Corey, when you get into business, make sure you always have an exit strategy. If this thing bellies up, or if this idea doesn't work, then don't be hard on yourself. I've had a lot of businesses, believe me, it didn't work. Have an exit plan. Be very strategic. Make sure you have definitely a CPA, and make sure you definitely have some type of mentor. Like I said, somebody that's been in that area or expertise that can tell you, hey man, you better watch out for this. And again, you know what you need to do, but just always have some people that you could throw stuff off of. But other than that, man, have fun. That'll be my last thing, Corey. I sound this thing. I don't want to make this thing sound serious. I still move like I'm a child in this world, man. I have fun, I laugh, I joke, and I try not to make it so serious, because when you're very serious, it's hard to be imaginative and be creative and enjoy what you're doing when you're always serious. You know what I'm saying? Kick back, have fun, and don't take things personally. Because just because it didn't work this time, go back and try it again, or maybe do it a different way. So I would definitely say, guys, you got to have thick skin to get in this business out here. You can't go out there and think that, just everybody going to say yes, because that's not reality. Everybody's not going to say yes to you, and so and I would definitely say, man, look into the principles. Some of these books that I look at, this one here is called The Abundance Books, guys. Changed my life. If you could read this book and read 3 or 4, I think it's like 8 different quotes in here. But if you can engage, you got to read this book 2 times a day for 40 days. Come thank me later. But you got to do it, because if you miss a day, you got to start all over again. But it don't talk. This is called the abundance book, and I advocate this book. They don't pay me for this, but I'm still advocating for it because it changed my life. So I'm pushing it forward. It don't even talk about money in here. You don't talk about dollar bills, Benjamins. It don't talk about that. You know what it talks about? You. You're the money. I would definitely tell everybody, man, to definitely get engaged with this book. This will change your whole mindset when it comes to waking up in the morning and how you look at how you making your money and how you're going to be able to facilitate your business and just where you are in this whole thing, man. It's really interesting. And I would also, I advocate, I'm on your show, so I think this is okay. And definitely, this is my story. This is my book. Of course, I'm an author now. It's called Passion for Freedom. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't advocate money. I advocate everybody just need freedom, man. That's what it's about. Freedom, guys. Go out here and do what you want, when you want to do it, how you want to do it.
It's a black man's Sunday.